Hello and welcome to Cancer season. If you're just tuning in for the first time to Embodied Astrology, my name is Renee. Welcome back to all my longtime listeners. I'm so happy to be here with you. Your Cancer season horoscopes are coming right up, but first I need to tell you a couple of things. 1, I have recorded horoscopes for Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra seasons all together in the last week. They're going to be edited, so you'll be getting your readings as the seasons start, but I need you to know this for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to see me looking pretty much the same for the next few months. And also, I'll be expanding on some themes that are continuous across this stretch of time, which is basically from the end of June until the end of October in 2025. Also, I want to tell you that I did this because of what I see upcoming in this year's astrology. Surprise, surprise. It is a lot of change, and I wanted to create some more space for myself to get out of my comfort zone and business as usual so that I can be more responsive to some of the changes that are happening in my life, including here at Embodied Astrology. I also wanted to tell you this because it's a great time for any of us to get out of our comfort zones and business as usual. So if you've been feeling a bit restless lately, or like you're anticipating something, or maybe just that you need a change, please, 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 my friends, schedule ahead and plan to disrupt your own rhythms so that you can be available and actively participate more generously with the changes that are trying to happen, especially in the next 4 months. On that note, I have done my best to outline what I see happening in the next months and years astrologically, and I'm including a bonus reading for the collective in Cancer season in this season's offerings. This is about a 20-minute listen, and you can find it linked in the show notes or wherever you found this reading. Please listen to it. There are some messages I really want to share with you. And finally, as I mentioned a moment ago, and as you'll hear me talk about in the bonus reading, there are some changes upcoming at Embodied Astrology. Now, if you've followed my work for a while, you know that I am not here to be a brand. I'm not trying to dominate the astrology sphere or convince anyone that I have all the answers that you need. In fact, Embodied Astrology is a project that is increasingly committed to democratizing astrology and engaging with it as an emergent strategy that anyone can access as a lens for mapping time, revealing complexities, and helping us understand how we got here, what we're doing, and what the deeper potentials are in any given situation or relationship. As the challenges of living together on planet Earth intensify, human beings need truly non-binary languages that can help us bridge the gaps between our own biases and experiences. The synthesis of embodiment practice and astrological thinking is one way we can create this kind of language. At EA, this is what we're investing in. We're putting our resources towards designing and maintaining study groups where people come together to work together. We're actively fostering co-leadership and co-authorship and creating spaces where astrology can expand its potentials through application with other modalities such as conflict transformation, design thinking, urban planning, psychotherapy, and more. Everything we offer is always offered with flexible pricing and sliding scales. Unless capacity is limited, no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. And we consistently redistribute at minimum 10% of our net profits to Indigenous-led environmental protection projects and mutual aid for under-resourced communities. So this brings me to a request, which is this. If you have ever benefited from our work, if you enjoy my monthly readings, if you attend our events, or think you want to someday, please help us to continue to grow and expand our work. In the next 6 to 12 months, my personal goal is to start funding an emergent astrologer space, where the work of a diverse group of astrologically oriented practitioners from many different backgrounds can research and produce writing, art, education, and other kinds of content that is specifically focused on meeting the practical, spiritual, and relational needs of right now. I know that times are tough and budgets are tight, but if every one of our listeners donated $1 a month, we would meet 100% of our operating costs, and we'd be able to not only keep creating monthly horoscopes and regular podcasts for free and offering all of our classes and workshops at sliding scale, but we'd also be able to do so much more. As if this wasn't already an exchange, we are working on a special membership for donors of all amounts, but things like that also cost money to map out and administer, and our team is small and our resources are limited. One thing I can say is that within the next few months, we will be rolling out an ad-free content space. And for the time being, in order to support the work we're trying to grow, we are turning on ads on all of our distribution channels. I know it's annoying. I also know you know how to fast forward. But please know that we're only using them so that we can stay here. If you appreciate this work, please support it. You can sign up for a recurring donation or a one-time donation of any amount in the show notes below. You can also support our work so much by sharing it with your friends and networks and helping boost us on the algorithms by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Another great way to support this work is to purchase our products like the 2025 year ahead readings for your sun, moon, and rising signs, which are all discounted now by 25% because we're halfway through the year. And finally, one of the best ways to support us is to attend our events because most of what we do actually isn't streamed on a podcast. You can find me every Monday in my weekly virtual class on Zoom, Somatic Space, where I offer week ahead astrology forecasts and gentle adaptive movement, meditation, and visualization practices to help us make the most of the current transits. If you become a Somatic Space member, you'll also get access to our twice monthly chart reading study groups, led by my colleague, Alisha Mawji, where you can learn more about your chart and astrology through conversation and connections with wonderful people who just might become wonderful friends. We also have regular workshops and events, such as what I'm calling our upcoming reunion tour, with 3 facilitators who have been enormous parts of making embodied astrology what it is: Junata Petrus, Ramon Gabrieloff-Parrish, and Sherry Taylor. Junata is a Cancerian, and she's up first for a very special Cancer season offering of soul sweetening. We'll be leading together and taking turns offering prompts to embody, contemplate, and create with Cancerian energetics and practices we've each cultivated to support us personally through big feelings, trying times, when bonds feel tender, and when uncertainties abound. If this sounds like something you want and need, it's here for you, live or recorded. No one turned away for lack of funds. Okay, thanks for hanging in with me and listening to all of this. You can find more information about everything I just mentioned in the show notes. Please find my reading for the collective for an important general message for Cancer season. And now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Gemini. Happy Cancer season. For those of you who are Gemini suns, I feel that it is really about a new year, new you. We are just leaving your birthday season. And the vibe that I got immediately from your Cancer season chart is, okay, a new page has turned. It's a new chapter. It might even be a new book. For Gemini risings, I feel the same way. Gemini moon, other Gemini placements, feel into it. Always take what works, leave the rest. So you are entering a distinctly new feeling phase in your life right now. And as we move into Cancer season, I feel that a lot of you are owning something. You are claiming something that maybe you have always kind of known you have, but there is a different sense of confidence, courage, capacity, or comfort even that you have in kind of filling up the space of your own existence. I feel that many of you are becoming aware of skills and talents that you have that you may not have previously understood were such gifts. And this is also a period of time when some of you may be thinking about developing particular skills and talents in order to take them to the next level. Cancer season in general, as we enter into the season, and this remains a theme throughout the year, there is a vibe right now that Gemini is trying to figure out how to get what you need in order to do what you want. And I will say that the future feels uncertain at the moment, and that's not really on you. It's just that this is when we're alive right now. And so it is an uncertain future in so many ways. It feels pretty hard to make solid plans right now. And so a lot of you, I feel like you're speculating a little bit. You're imagining what could happen if X, Y, and Z factors turn out the way that you think that they will, but at the same time, you know that it's probable that you can't predict what's going to happen because it's such an unpredictable kind of time. And so there may be moments when that feels very limiting and potentially depressing. And it is in so many ways a limiting and depressing feeling time as well. And it is a time full of opportunity because a lot of things are breaking down. A lot of things are kind of being revealed as not working. And I think that in general, the collective time is one of a lot of change. And chaos is the mother of invention. So it's an interesting sensation as I tune in with you for Cancer season, because I think that a lot of Geminis feel a readiness and an anticipation and even an excitement and enthusiasm about what's to come. And then there are certain moments where you feel completely overwhelmed, devastated, depressed, confused, maybe even kind of numb and disassociated, like how? And then you go back into this place where it feels like a lot of things might be possible. And there is a really strong quality of being in a dreamlike period of time right now, I think for many people, and I'm feeling this a lot in the Gemini charts. So the first week of Cancer season, we're moving towards a new moon on June 25th. That is a pretty powerful new moon. Jupiter will be conjunct with the new moon. Jupiter has just recently moved into Cancer, and Cancer holds the second place for Gemini, and this is the place of what you have. It is also the place of how you get your needs met, how you use what you have to get more of what you need and what you want. And this is one of the places that was calling out to me as I looked at the chart, and it was like, okay, Gemini has something right now. Because before you have any kind of material possession, you have you. You are your most valuable asset, my friend. You in your life, in the skills that you have built because of the challenges that you have been through, in the learning and wisdom that you have gained because of the times when you didn't know what the fuck was going on and you had to figure it out on the fly. You are a person that has, of course, natural talents and kind of innate skills, but this is really, the feeling that I have is that it's really about what you have cultivated, what you have grown, what you have poured some amount of faith and goodwill and trust in yourself, in your own efforts. And through your intention and focus and dedication and willingness to grow, now you have something. And this new moon is highlighting that kind of feeling. So if you're looking for a new moon ritual on June 25th, if you're a person that likes to honor the lunations, I would say that this is a great time for you to do some appreciation practice for yourself. You might want to write out a list of all of the things that you have ever accomplished and the reasons that you have to feel proud of yourself. And I would suggest that you start back as early as you can remember and work up from there. And I definitely would encourage you to feel proud of accomplishments that perhaps other people may not be aware of or the culture might not see all the time, but include all of the accomplishments that have to do with how you got through X, Y, or Z. And it's okay if some of the ways that you got through were also coping, not always rising to the best occasion, because that is part of getting through. That's part of survival also. But yeah, you've learned some things, you've gained some things, you have some things innately. And now is a time to focus on your strengths and not on your weaknesses, and help the strengths that you have attract more of what you need. So use this new moon energy that also coincides with the next year of Jupiter's cycle to focus on your internal abundance, your accomplishments, your sense of personal successes, include the small things and the big things, how you feel proud of yourself, and then contemplate how those qualities, those attributes, and those experiences have set you up to get some other places or access some other kinds of resources or attract other kinds of wants and needs into your life. Now, as we move into the month of July, your ruling planet Mercury is entering the sign Leo, and it will be here for quite a while because Mercury will be retrograde, and the entirety of its retrograde will be in the sign Leo. Now, a little bit later in July, the planet Venus is moving into Gemini, and then just a couple of days later, the outer planet Uranus makes its first entry into your sign. So this is between July 4th and July 7th. And the combination of all of these influences to me feel exciting. It feels motivating in some kind of particular way. And I think some of you right now are really working on messaging. This could be messaging about a particular project or, goals or desires that you have. This might also be personal messaging. It could have to do with how you communicate, how you kind of put yourself across and share your ideas and things like that. But it does feel like you're reworking some ideas about who you are and who you get to be in this lifetime. Now, Uranus is going to be in your sign until 2033, starting next year. So it's making its first entry in July. It will station retrograde in September. It will move back into Taurus, where it has been since 2018 in November. But next year, it will move back into Gemini, and then it will stay there until 2033. If you are younger than 85 years old, then this is the first time that this has ever happened for you. And it's probably going to be the only time because Uranus has an 84-year orbit around the sun. And unless you're quite young when you're listening to this, or, maybe those immortality drugs are going to come out soon, maybe you'll get another shot. But this is kind of a once in a lifetime experience. And there is something, I'm going to say, resonant between the energies of Uranus as a symbol and Gemini as a symbol. And the resonance that I feel has to do with what feels like a trickster kind of energy. And it feels like a capacity to enjoy a certain amount of chaos. And it could feel erratic sometimes, but it can also feel exciting and surprising. Both Gemini and Uranus like the aha moments and the feelings of things clicking and learning something new. And so as this influence begins for you, I think that a lot of you are having this kind of aha experience in your life right now. And it's like you're being jolted into a kind of awakening about who you get to be. Now, Gemini is a delightfully queer kind of energy, regardless of how you orient yourself. And it is also a delightfully playful kind of energy. And you may not have always received support for being playful, for being, queerly. I don't know, again, how you identify yourself, but I think Gemini likes to have some options. And so does Uranus. So enjoy it. Enjoy this influence. It's coming in with Venus at the same time. I feel that Gemini is getting a big boost in the month of July. And I will just say, have a great time. And then I'll also say that I think a lot of you are experimenting with, it's not even like you're intentionally experimenting, it's just what's happening. It's like you're expressing yourself in new ways. And, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you might find that how you express yourself in a particular moment feels fun, exciting, and new. And maybe somebody doesn't get it. Maybe they take offense. Maybe there's a miscommunication. And that is an opportunity to build a bond, right? A lot of times we get fearful of conflict or avoidant of making other people, right, feel uncomfortable, or other people feeling uncomfortable because of us. But I think that at least as often as it's, an awkward or uncomfortable situation, it can turn into a really positive situation and, a funny story for later, or something that actually allows you to become closer with a person, because then you get to explain yourself and you get to have a process with it, and people get to share their different perspectives and things like that. So a lot of times with Mercury retrograde energy, you'll hear things like, be careful of your communication, and Mercury is your ruling planet. It is moving through your third house of communication. You probably do want to be mindful about how you're speaking, how you're writing, texts included. But my feeling for you right now a little bit is like you can't help it, but just be out with it. And so if things go a little haywire, roll with the punches, go with the flow, and see it as an opportunity for having a laugh, potentially getting to know someone better, or getting to know yourself better. And so if you get feedback that something you said or some kind of plan you're making or a perspective that you had maybe isn't totally aligned, just let that help you learn right now. Because I think that this is very much a phase of learning for you. And the more that you can keep an open mind, a playful spirit, and an attitude of kind of just appreciating what you have to give, right? And I feel that this is very much a blessing for you at this time, is that you can appreciate what you have to give. And that can help you weather the awkwardness and discomfort that might come sometimes when other people just don't get it or don't appreciate it as much as you. Finally, I'm going to say that I think that it's a great time for you to take risks, especially all through Cancer season. I think it's a great time for you to take risks. Some of the outer planets are stationing retrograde in the first 2 weeks of July. And so if you're feeling this nudge to do something different, to take a risk, to try something new, and then maybe you feel a little tired, or you lose your way, or you get a little uncertain about it, or it's not as compelling for you, don't worry about it. You're in a phase of transition right now. And a lot of you are really looking towards a future that feels new and different than what you have been experiencing. But you're not quite ready yet. And there is something that needs to get clarified for you. I feel in the end of the year and moving into 2026, that has more to do with what I'm going to call a spiritual intention. And this is not at all a religious intention. It is very much about the intention of your spirit. And that also really means your heart and what you care about. I talked to you in your Gemini season reading about sincerity and the need for you to value your own sincerity and to really value your own heart's message. And I think that that is absolutely what a lot of you are feeling that you need to do. And so there's some back and forth right now. It feels like a little bit of a learning curve where you are learning how to find the space between what feels like detached and funny and kind of a little reckless, like, fuck it, let's just try it. That kind of like a little more chaotic Gemini energy. You're looking for a balance between that and something that feels a lot more tender, a lot more sincere, a lot more sensitive and like emotionally affected. So it's good for you to find that balance in between. And if you feel like you're swinging a little bit between those two ends of a swing or something in Cancer season, just roll with it. And if this resonates for you, get curious about either end of the pendulum swing and what is possible in the middle. All right, Gemini, I want to leave you with an embodiment practice. And I love to do embodied practice with astrology because the words and the symbols and the ideas can float in and float out pretty quickly. But an embodiment practice can be something that you continue to work with. And so always feel free to modify, adapt, make these practices your own. But I feel that many of you will benefit from really practicing very frequently speaking from your heart. And I want to say that before you speak language out loud, you speak it to yourself and you speak it inside of your consciousness in some way. And so the practice of linking your mind and your heart feels like a very fruitful practice for you to be with, not just in Cancer season, but for the entirety of at least the rest of this year and into the first half of 2026. So if you would care to join me, please do. And I'm going to start just by doing some tapping around my chest and upper ribs, lower collarbones. As I'm tapping, it can do this cool thing to my voice. Maybe you want to try that too. And so as I am speaking and toning and making a sound and tapping, I'm going to try and feel the resonance of my voice in my chest and in my heart space. And I'm going to keep tapping up and down the center of my sternum. And I'm going to breathe in a way that brings my consciousness right into the center of my chest. And as I speak, I'm going to imagine that I can speak directly from my heart. And as I'm speaking from my heart to you, Gemini, I want to say that I feel that right now, a lot of you are doing a lot of healing. And this healing has to do with your perception of what is possible for you in the future. And some of you may have had lots of experiences where your plans do not work out the way that you wish that they would. And you may have had experiences where you have felt really deeply disappointed and like good outcomes are not for you. But I want to say, Gemini, that I feel that for many of you, that is no longer the case, and it is really changing. And it is time for you to allow yourself the imagination of what could be, and also allow yourself the faith that it can be. And when you speak your intentions out loud to yourself and to other people, when you speak them from your heart, they become the most powerful. Okay? And your intentions could be for yourself, it could be for your relationships, it could be for what you want in your life, it could be for what you want to offer to the world. And what I want for you is for your thoughts and your words to match the frequency of what you feel in your heart. Have fun with it, Gemini. I hope any or all of that feels interesting and helpful for you. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond. Lots of love. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, y'all. If this message feels supportive for you, please help support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this work with your friends and networks. Check the show notes for other ways to support the work at Embodied Astrology, including getting your 2025 year ahead readings, which are now 25% discounted, or coming to the Cancer season workshop, which I'll be co-facilitating with the one and only Janata Petrus, or attend one of my weekly classes or the bi-monthly chart reading study groups with Alisha, or become a sustaining donor. There are so many ways to support this work and so many ways this work wants to support you. All that information and more in the show notes. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond.